and let's see what kind of trouble we can get into. So this is my favorite little short ride. And it's my favorite little short ride because of stuff like canopy roads and woods. And as you can see, the leaves are starting to turn. The other part that I like about this ride is it's got little curvy places and some nice little houses that cost twice as much as you'd think they would. The real expensive houses, though, are to the left side of these. These are only $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million. But between these and my house, it goes up to $3 and $4 million. Excuse me, here's a turn. And here's the little place where we votes. Yes, we do. East of Forehouse. And there's a closed business here that I don't know what used to be here. But with the pandemic and everything, they closed it up. Oh, it's Bambi. It's Bambi Jr. It is that time of the year. And if it's clear tomorrow, well, I was going to say, if it's clear tomorrow, I will do a long ride. But tomorrow I have to make trips to the grocery and the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker. Ooh, we have some construction going on. More houses for the subdivision. Yeah, we have a housing surplus, a homeless population, and they're building more stuff. And yes, the garbage man. Hi there, garbage man. Looking at me like I'm a freak. These people do not understand how four-way stops work. I also don't understand how roundabouts work. There's a roundabout near our house. It's on the main route to get to the grocery and downtown and etc. Fortunately, it's kind of isolated because at least once a month you get to the roundabout and someone has tried just driving straight across that summit. Yep. And a stop sign will be knocked down and racked across the thing, and the grass will be all torn up, and there'll be a little oil spot. And then sometimes you get to the roundabout, you're stopped with your little right blinker on, showing where you're going to go, and somebody gets to the roundabout and goes the wrong direction. Or they see that yield sign and just drive on through like it's not even there. And the old folks will get there and stop. And they will stay stopped until there is no traffic in the roundabout. And then they'll drive around it 2 or 3 times till they figure out where it is that they're supposed to get off. But I mean, I guess that's good that old people get off. Saying that like I'm a young whippersnapper. I am an old fart. Not sure where our camera is looking. We're going to adjust it up just a little bit. Oh yeah. I am going to have to get a second camera and somehow mount it up here so I can turn it so it looks towards the side, perhaps backwards, to show some of the landscape or absence thereof. Because this part of the country is mostly what you call flat. Prairie. Now what do I want to do here? Do I want to go straight for a while? Do I want to go to baseline? Yeah, let's go to baseline. I think I got another half hour out of this drive. This is not my favorite intersection because, as you can see, there's this nice little thing that cuts diagonally across it, and it's always got a layer of gravel on it. So it's kind of a well-diced situation. Oh, look, it's a shadow. The shadow. had to do a lit course one time. Between the wars. And it was supposed to be a review of the biggie works of literature published between the two world wars. Now, the textbook that we used, it was a pop thing. Thank you for not killing me. If I remember, it was by a guy named Paul Fussell. Fussel's whole take was that the entire world was just eat up with anxiety, remorse, lamentation, grief, having been torn asunder by the war, and blah 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 blah. And this is why all the literature is gloom, doom, teeth here and eyeballs all over the pavement kind of stuff. And I got to thinking about it, and being a American specialist, I was like, this is not what American literature was about at that time, and it's certainly not the history of America between the wars. Because immediately after the war, and for 12 years, everything was great. People were making money hand over fist, bathtub gin, flappers, women in short dresses and high heels, and all sort of anti-Victorian stuff. People was having a good time. Well, we were supposed to write a paper about work of literature. So I pulled out the series of books on the Shadow and did an analysis of the Shadow. Was he an Aristotelian hero, as Aristotle saw things? I'm waiting for you. I'm not that wide, not that high. And I allowed his howl. This showed that the world was not filled with gloom and doom, but that it was a precursor to late 20th century literature that suggests, as we see today, that there are giant conspiracies all over the place. Giant conspiracies against the common man, and trying to defeat everything good and noble about capitalism and big business and all that shit that we still see today from the far right. And you get it from some of the people on the far left, but not quite so much. At any rate, the professor was freaking livid. I was supposed to just accept what he said, that the world was full of gloom and doom, and I was like, no, that was in Britain. And this book was written from a British perspective, where they should have had gloom and doom because they lost an entire freaking generation of men in a war that was badly led, badly managed, poor strategy, poor tactics. That damn near took down the monarchy. Should have proved to them that Churchill was not a man to listen to very much. Now, most of their politicians at the time weren't that prominent anyway. So at any rate, we had a knockdown drag-out right there about how popular literature is not an acceptable source for review of how society is and functions. And I was like, shit, it is the best source for what's really going on in society and how the majority of the people feel about it, because that's the stuff that the majority of the people would read. Yep. All the corn's been taken down to stubble. A week from now, this is just going to be flat. All you will see is clay. So, yeah, he and I had some problems. And unfortunately, this guy wound up being a member of my dissertation committee. It came time for a defense of my dissertation. He tried to tear it to shreds, but in the process only embarrassed himself by showing that he had no idea what the I had written about. He did not understand a word of it. So, yeah, fun times at the fair. But now I look back, that was 40 years ago. 40 flipping years ago. And I have forgotten which way I'm supposed to go at this here crossroads here. So, we have a four-way stop, which means that I will stop and others may. And the basic premise holds true still today, as far as I can tell. What's in the popular media is a reflection of what people think. And in our case today, the immediacy of the media and consumption of popular media creates a very quick, very vicious feedback loop. So each of the media sources creates its own little echo chamber. That drives itself into ever-tightening spiral of wackadoodle. This is Darmstadt. Not the cutest little town in the world. Reduce off speed. Steinkuhl. had recently with a student. Oh, stop sign with little blinky LEDs. Now, is that sharp or is that sharp? I wonder if they got that from Sharper Image. Honest officer, I stopped. Student attacked me because, as she said, I was being indoctrinated by the far left liberal media. And I'm like, no, sweetie, I do not pay any attention to the American media. As I mentioned to you before, I guess, I can't remember every conversation we've had recently. I get, when I want TV news, I get most of that from watching German TV. Deutsche Welle, Das Erste, local stations in Munich, Heidelberg, Hamburg, such and such. The other day I was watching and I thought I saw somebody who looked really familiar, like someone I was friends with back 50 years ago when I was in Germany. Probably wasn't her, but there we are. There's little Kidlet, short and stout. No, he's short and thin. Most of them around here are short and stout. Yeah, if they fall down, they rock themselves to sleep trying to get up. Well, after explaining to this young lady that I got my news from foreign sources and not American, she claimed that proved that I was being indoctrinated. And I'm like, wait, I get my news from 3 different non-American countries. 6 different viewpoints all over the political spectrum. How is that indoctrination? And her response was, 'cause it ain't American. Of course, that argument is missing 10 or 12 warrants, but that's the kind of stuff I get from my students. One of the current undergraduate classes, their final essay, they have a list of topics that they have to draw from. The list is basically the top 10 global issues. Things like AI, genetic engineering, blah blah. Well, this young lady writes to me and says she wants to do her paper on vaccine mandates. And I'm like, that's not on the approved list. She said, well, it's a takeoff from the topic government corruption and accountability. And I'm like, telling you to get vaccinated against a deadly virus doesn't sound like government corruption to me. And oh yes, she then went down the conspiracy rabbit hole. That this so-called virus does not really exist. all of this stuff is just a way for Big Pharma to make lots of money off the American people having to pay lots of money for all of these shots. So I explained to her the vaccinations are free. And that's when she started in on the "you're just a communist" bullshit. And this is a very strange stop here. You can't see diddly on the right. Now they have a stop sign on the right, but as you can see, you can't see diddly because it's an angled. So you take your life in your hands. Oh, it's geese. Geese. Lots of geese. Go geese, go. This road is finally open. Yeah, that little section of blacktop back there, it took them 4 months to do that. 4 months. 4 months this road has been closed because of 40 yards of blacktop. Well, I guess they wanted to make sure that it was top quality. So, at any rate, maybe I should stop and buy a couple of pumpkins. Yeah, this is not the interesting part of the ride. I just wanted to see if this road was open. I could have kept going back there. Going straight. Why go straight when you can go gay, right? Anyhow. So that was the topper of the week. Number 2 on the student hit parade was a whole bunch of students going on and on about how evolution is evil and it's all wrong and blah blah blah, and the usual arguments. That you get from people who do not understand biology or chemistry or physics. And haven't read anything that Darwin wrote. Yeah, I gotta get around this guy. As usual, I was tempted to respond to these students and try to explain to them how and in what ways they were wrong about this situation. Bonk! And then I just deleted the message. Cough. Okay, had to kill the sound because I had a sneeze there. Ooh. That just was nasty. Now, where the hell am I, Jake? There's the Dollar General, and here's the guy who may or may not stop. Thank you for not killing me. Ooh, this has had some changes in recent months. if I am where I think I am, I'm going to turn left. Yes. And here it is, darker than... And none of these people have their lights on. You gotta wonder. Is that me, or is that just a whole bunch of dumpsters? Whatever in the world for? Down with the current. There we are. And the right lane is the default lane. But at any rate, day or two, I'm going to take a long ride, go down to Duke, Kentucky, just for a long ride around some country roads, some 2-lane asphalt. And maybe some scenery. Other than clay and farms. It's funny, this road is tilted, as you can see. So I'm flat foot on the left foot and I'm tippy toe on the right foot. The seat is just about half an inch taller than my inseam seated. Oh, and I haven't slept for 10-12 hours. So, yeah. I'm ready to knock it out, get some sleep. Sleep for a while, and then go play with my classes. boxed in. Love to sort of get around this, but it being 10 minutes till 8, this is rush hour. You can tell by all the traffic. I do come by here occasionally for a couple de reasons. There are a couple of good takeout restaurants on this street. And somewhere around here, one of the neighborhoods, there is a young lady with a red motorcycle that I believe is a Suzuki. 500, 600, something like that. At any rate, it's a nice looking bike, and she does gear up. I mean, you know, with the gloves and the jacket, and the boots and all that. And she's almost old enough to be my granddaughter, but I'd kind of like to meet her and look at her bike. Have a little conversation about her riding, why she rides, why she chose the bike that she chose, and blah blah, etc. Just purely out of curiosity. Curiosity because several factors. One, there aren't that many women riders around here. I've seen a few, but not that many. Those that I have seen are on cruisers, big fat Harleys, engines and Victories, or, you know, rice burner cruisers. And in all, right lane is the default. I don't see that many sport bikes. Either sport, super sport, naked, or hyper naked. So, seeing a woman riding a sport bike is on the unusual scale. That's about a solid 8 out of 10. So I'd just like to have a converse with her, find out what the story is. Okay, McDude, what are you doing? Uh-oh. I'm going to have to investigate something when I get home. We just passed the place where my family members used to go for counseling and therapy and such as. And it had a big sign out front said "For sale." I'm not sure what the heck is up with that. So I will have to check in with the spousal unit, see if she knows anything about that. I needed to turn left back there. I needed that road. Stroud, Stroop. Missed it. So I'm gonna take Vogel here. Yeah, and figure out where the heck I'm supposed to be at. Here we go. It's what you call your middle class residential district. There's what you call your sheriff's car. Morning, Sheriff. Deputy. Dog. And this street is lousy. But there are worse. This is Becky. If memory serves, there is a butcher shop up that street, but we're not going for the butchers today. And besides, it's only 8 a.m., they might not be open yet. And people think this is the big city. It's weird. Okay, I can't see for that post. But we're getting taco trucks. You know it's a big city because we've got 3 Starbucks. Yeehaw! Now, you may be asking yourself, why in the world is he parking so far behind and to the side of that van. And pretty much anybody I stop behind. Well, one, I don't want to get crunched into them. If somebody rear ends me, not that that's ever happened, but if someone were to rear end me, I don't want to get gushed coming and going. And if I happen to see in the rearview mirror that I am about to get rear-ended, being on the left side, I can just scoot over. Whereas if I'm immediately behind the middle, I'm going to get gooshed. And frankly, I don't want to get gooshed. Now, I wouldn't mind getting squished between two cute little redheads, but two metal objects that weigh several tons, no, I can pass on that one. It doesn't sound like fun. And from what I've seen, it wouldn't feel fun either. The daughter and I do regularly see squished motorcycles being hauled from place to place on the back of tow trucks. And I mean, as in bent double. I'm just not a big fan of that. Some people say that not how it be, but it do. And we're going to cut off about here. Because I have accomplished what I set out to do. Get about an hour time in the saddle. Charge up the battery, and check out the microphone setup. So, Kathy, that's about it for today. I will try to get this edited today. Put up on YouTube just for you. Because, yeah, I'll find this battery. Oh, there's one of our hawks. You probably can't see him over there. I hope maybe at some point you will be able to see one or more of our hawks. There's a little family of them hangs out around the airport here. The daughter and I think they are Cooper's hawks. They may not be. We will see.